Welcome to Great Check. Have such a fun talk.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. It's been a while since Katie and I have done an episode with each other, and this is gonna be a fun episode.
Very much so. We message each other and we're like, okay, what do we want to do? What topics do we want to do? And I just sent, do you want to talk about Twister? And it took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, Twister is a very important movie for not just Katie and I, but really any meteorologist out there. Because I think anyone in our generation, that was really the spark, or one of the sparks. That led us to what we do today. So.
Certainly, and it's definitely the top of my storm chasing playlist. Anytime I go out and chase, it's the Twister theme is number one, followed by, I think Gravity by Jessica Vosk is probably my second one.
Yeah.
But still, very good. Everything about this movie just screams meteorologists.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And, this movie, there's already been kind of a sequel. They have Twisters that came out. That was that last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And aren't they thinking of making a third one?
I'm not sure, but I would not be opposed to them doing that.
Yeah, it actually, the sequel.
The second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes. But we're going to be talking about the original one today. So the original one came out in 1996. So it's been 30 years since this movie came out. It's kind of held up for its time. It's still a really good watch today. But of course, there's a lot of mistakes and errors that us meteorologists catch when we watch this movie now.
And we watch it over and over. And what's interesting, too, this movie came out in 1996. I was born in 1996.
It's meant to be.
It really was supposed to be an omen for my parents, I think. Because I was a few months after the movie. And it's been interesting to see watching it as, like, not a kid, because my parents did not let me watch this when I was younger, but watching it from like teenager through college to now as an adult and like a matured meteorologist, you definitely pick out certain little things, especially the numbers.
Yes, for sure.
Very key little numbers here, including the start of the movie.
The start of the movie. So, yes, we have Dr. Joe... Oh gosh, what's her last name? Harding. Harding, yes. So it starts off with her childhood, and I think it was kind of her thing, like what set her up to what she was doing later on in the movie.
That traumatic storm story that every one of us meteorologists have.
Exactly.
Like, the storm.
So it goes back to her childhood, and there's a tornado that's about to hit her family's home. And there's a scene where they have the year's 1969, by the way, in this part of the movie. And there's a scene where the dad is watching the meteorologist on television, and then I think he goes to talk to the family and says that they think it's going to be an F5.
Right.
Which, so I already have a couple problems with that, but we're just going to go to the main point is the Fujita scale created by Ted Fujita was invented in 1971, which was 2 years after the scene would have taken place. So they would have had no idea.
Not a chance.
Right.
They were so close to getting it right, too. They could have just made it like 71.
Right, yeah.
Really?
So like just push it to them, then it would have been way better. But this is that little thing, too.
Well, and talking with people, especially about previous tornadoes, I mean, we talk about tornado outbreaks. The Flint Beecher one was before Fujita scale.
Right.
And how, you rate it F5. Well, how did you know it was F5 if there wasn't the scale? Well, that is a reasonable question. But it's because we can go back. It's the nature of the scale. It's a damage-based scale.
Right.
So you can look at photos and see what was destroyed if a brick building's destroyed versus a wood building.
Right.
And you can go back and reanalyze it and determine what size the tornado was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that process works.
Right. And what's kind of neat now, too, is we have the enhanced Fujita scale, which was invented in 2007. So actually in our lifetimes. But back in 96, obviously, they didn't have that yet. So they were still talking about the Fujita scale then. But I don't know exactly what, like, major, details about what's the main difference between the enhanced versus the, the original Fujita one. But we do go by the enhanced Fujita scale now.
Right, yeah, and we see the they kind of like shaved down some of the wind speed requirements because you could see it, but there's actually been some talk online because it was a big thing when they switched to the enhanced Fujita scale. I remember like that was very early social media days. But like even the Weather Channel talking about it and being like, oh, something's happening.
Right.
But now like with the way that buildings are being built and not necessarily the most sturdy or made to last structures,
Right.
it is severely affecting our ability to rate these storms accurately, because if you had a fully built home, say from the 1950s, 1960s, solid wood, solid everything, versus like a more modern one that may be slimmed down, if the same tornado hits each, well, once one's destroyed, you can't get any more data from it.
Right.
So it's something that's still factored into today.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, because you think of a like back then, a 2x4, for example, it was a true 2x4, whereas now a 2x4, you know, it's, gosh, I don't know the exact, but like 1.25 inches by 3.5.
Yeah, it's
you know,
like
it's not, it's a little bit slimmer, which you wouldn't think would make a big difference, but I guess it would in this case, you know, and when you have a tornado passing through your house.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
And like made to go fast, sort of like, okay, we build this house, we build this house, we build this house. And like back then you had different architecture. It took time.
Took a lot more time.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, and you can kind of see that with their house that's at the beginning of the movie. It's like, oh, there's the house. Oh, there's no more house.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, this must have been a really strong one.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Oh, well, and there's the scene, of course, that with that, he gets the family into the shelter. And I always kind of was so upset with the dad for holding on to the storm door and being like, what are you doing? Just go to the back of the shelter. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's that scene too. There's so many things too. And we were just kind of talking about how, you know, he said like they think it's an F5. How that's incorrect. But this is kind of jumping to when they were at Aunt Meg's house.
Right.
And they were talking about, was it like over the radio or something, that they were already talking about that an F4, F5 was spotted. But the thing about, you can't, a tornado, like obviously we see it and we can kind of judge what it may be off looking at it. But we can't really for sure say what the rating is until the National Weather Service goes out and assesses what the damage is. And then they say, okay, yes, this was what they would say nowadays, an EF3 or whatever one.
Yeah, well, and you can see with tornadoes, if you look up the different types of tornadoes and the shapes, I always say they're kind of like people because they come in all different shapes, sizes, and strengths.
They do.
And so you can get these things called drill bit tornadoes, which the videos we get of them, the close-up intercepts, the people are crazy if they're getting close to that thing. Because they're called drill bits for a reason. They are super thin, super small, and super duper fast. Yeah, so they don't have the largest damage path. You're not like a 1 mile wide wedge. But they could cause comparable damage depending on the wind speed. So that factors into this part of the movie where it's like, no.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't think so.
So a big part of that is you got to see what the damage is afterward before you can make any good assessment of what, you know, the tornado is on that scale. So.
Definitely. And well, that's part of what the whole movie really is driving towards, is being able to get people advanced warnings, not necessarily tell them the strength of the tornado, but let them know that it's on the way.
If there's a tornado on the ground, take cover.
The bare bones minimum for that. And so we get this time skip. It's 27 years later. Joe has a team. We're introduced to Bill, the amazing Bill Paxton. Oh my gosh. If there's one celebrity I wish I could have met at a Comic-Con, it was him. He would have been
awesome.
Insanely cool to talk with, because, and we'll touch more on this coming up when we talk about Waukeeta, but I've been told stories about when they were filming in Waukeeta, how he would play football with the local high schoolers in between shots.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
So cool. And just like a genuine nice guy.
He's just a nice guy. Yeah, that's awesome.
So you get introduced to him, Melissa, I mean, the whole research team. And this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, because it was in 1996. They're filming it in 95. They are a unique group of people put together. They aren't all supermodels. Everyone has their own look, and I love that, because that's what it really looks like in real life. It's just a bunch of people, not supermodels.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
And in the movie too, that was my one gripe with Twisters. They were all too good looking after being in those storms. When you're out in that storm, your hair is a mess. Any makeup you have is smeared off or like running down your face because of the rain.
It's more than likely that it's hot and humid outside too, so you're sweaty. Like it's just, it's not a good look.
Full blown griminess. And that's kind of where Twister really succeeded in this, is that they filmed a lot on location.
Right.
And actually out there. And so you have the heat, the humidity,
the elements,
the cold. corn sweat. Like,
yes,
all of it just helped the makeup department. So they really embrace that. And there is one more character we need to talk about. Also, we're nerds. We have notes. We did research on this. But Jonas Miller. Ooh, were they ahead of their time with him?
Yes.
The line, and I quote this way too many times in our field, is he's in it for the money, not the science.
Yeah.
Because it kind of predicted some of the more not in it for the science storm chasers out there.
I mean, like you were saying, okay, so this movie came out 30 years ago, and obviously now we have social media, we have all this, we have hype meteorologists, as I like to say.
Yes.
And that's what their entire jobs are, is they just go out in the fields and they basically put their lives in danger. And they, there's many ways to keep yourself safe. If you know the science of meteorology and stuff, there's ways you can, safely storm chase and stuff like that. But a lot of the hype meteorologists, as I was saying, they kind of just, ignore all that and try to get the closest picture, of the tornado, the best picture, anything like that.
Get inside the outer bands.
Right. And it's... Yeah, and it's not, you're not only putting yourself in danger, but you're putting other people in danger too.
Yeah, and you're taking away resources from first responders if they have to rescue you, and it's all to get the same photo too. It's the pointing and being like, whoa.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So, yeah, that's our modern day Jonas Miller. So it's like, oh wow, they really they predicted that.
He was spot on about that. Yeah. And then with the sequel, I mean, that was pretty much the entire part too, and I think they nailed that in the sequel
completely.
So.
And I hope that if they do make this a 3-part trilogy or something, I would love to see them bring both casts together and go off of like the modern storm chasing.
Right.
That'd be fascinating.
That would be so much fun. To see like Helen Hunt and stuff like back in that. Yeah, that would be really cool.
She's still active in the industry. She does a lot of behind the scenes work now, and but she does still do acting. So there's never a zero chance.
Right, exactly.
But moving beyond that, I mean, we have so many different examples of tornadoes.
Yes.
The visual effects for this ahead of their time.
Yes.
They still hold up.
Yeah, no, it's actually amazing. Like looking at the history of tornadoes in film, like I think about, what am I thinking of? Wizard of Oz. I don't know why it took me. Like that was 1939, which would have been 87 years ago, and that held up for its time, big time. Like it was just that was so neat to me. Like even today, I watched it, I'm like, that's so incredible that almost 90 years ago that they were able to create that.
And wasn't it just like a rope that they had off in the distance? That's sweet.
Yeah, and it looked so realistic for that time. Like just amazing. I'm sure like sitting in a movie theater, 80, 90 years ago, watching that would have been like, wow, like, is that real?
Oh, for sure. Like, what is happening? And then it goes to full color and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's just super, super neat.
Well, and we get to the part in the movie where they go to, we'll go to the bridge, or land bridge in between the two lakes with the multi-vortex tornadoes, which they got right. You get multi-vortex tornadoes. They have them. They can move over water and become water spouts. That happens too.
Yep.
But you pointed out something when we were talking earlier that they may have missed a little bit in the movie.
Yes. You're talking about the staying under the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Which is a big no-no.
Yeah.
You do not want to do that because it obviously is super dangerous. But going into the sequel, it's like they knew that was an issue. So and they started off with the sequel like, boom, like, we need to fix this. We need to address this. You're not supposed to do this. Because they did go under, but then, they lost all of them pretty much. Except for the two. So, it was just really, really cool.
Staying out from underneath overpasses or underpasses, whichever term people go with, that's something that has actually happened from previous tornadoes in real life, not necessarily from the movie itself.
Right.
But you get the scene, you have Joe and Bill, and there's a sheltering underneath this. You have to know the science of it, take it like your thumb over a garden hose. You put an obstruction in front of it, it's going to increase the pressure.
Yes.
So you're creating a thumb basically on either side of you, and now it's going to speed up the wind speeds underneath that overpass.
That's a wonderful analogy, by the way. That is a really good way to put it. But that is, anytime in real life, and this has been something that we've been talking about for years is that you do not want to do that because obviously, like you said, they can speed up the winds and then just pull you right out, and it could be a whole, way worse situation.
And I remember they started the trailer with it. This trailer premiered during the Super Bowl. And
really,
the reason I remember is it is like one of those core memories where you can remember exactly a snapshot of the room and everything.
Yep.
Because they had them running under the overpass, and I almost broke our television. I was so mad. I was like, "You better not!"
Yeah, I think I remember that now. Yeah, no, I was like, wait, they did that? Yeah, no, I do remember that now. And yeah, that's the very beginning of the movie, but they show like it's super dangerous.
Yeah,
so.
it will leave you either with a lifelong scar or in destruction,
Right.
And you lose your friend group. So that was a very jolting but accurate way to get people to understand, don't go under overpasses.
Yeah, and we talk about, safe places and stuff with the tornadoes and where to go. But we got to talk about the scene at the very end where they tie themselves down.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because that is it's just unrealistic. So they tie themselves, I believe it's 2 poles, right?
Yeah, it's like a metal pipe that comes up from
the
like a
ground.
well or something,
Yes.
like a ground. Yeah.
Yep, and they tie themselves to it. And they have 250-mile-an-hour winds going over them, which, by the way, you'd be gone.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way.
Completely.
Like, you can't tie yourself down to the ground and just be, fine after that. Like something would have happened.
I don't care how well built belts were before mass fashion production, it still wouldn't have held.
Yeah,
that belt buckle would have been shredded.
Shredded to pieces.
If not, there was a barn full of sharp farming
Right,
instruments.
yeah, that too. Yeah.
Swiss cheese.
Yeah. And, so many things could happen, but they were mostly untouched. And then another part where they were untouched, and this is, I can picture this scene in my mind right now, when they're in the truck.
Yes,
and
yeah.
The cow, which, I don't know how many pounds a cow weighs, a full-grown cow, but it has to be several hundred at least. And this cow is picked up and it's floating across the truck while they're in the truck, and nothing happens to them. Like, there's no shaking or any, like, there'd have to be something.
Right.
And the cow was so effortlessly picked up, and it's like slow motion too. Like, it's just
whoa. Yeah, it's another cow.
like it's funny to watch, but it's just not realistic.
Though it's interesting with cows, you have to have a fairly strong tornado to pick them up.
Yes.
Because they are more aerodynamic than a Jeep Wrangler.
Right.
One of my favorite facts I can ever share, because if you think about it, cows are streamlined. And there's a graphic, if you look it up, cow versus Jeep Wrangler, wind, it will, not head on, but like wind, it is really fascinating to see. And there's been instances where cows have been picked up and moved into different farmers' fields.
Yep.
There was one, I don't know if you remember seeing it, it was within the last 2 years, I believe, either Ohio or Wisconsin, a 2x4 went into a cow, like right near its shoulder blade. It was just walking around the field after the tornado with a 2x4.
Oh my god.
And it survived.
Wow.
Like, so these cows are tanks. They could reasonably survive tornadoes.
Wow. That is incredible.
Wild.
But also just like the sheer force for it to go through the cow and for it to still be alive, like, that has to be, super quick for that to happen.
Completely. And, all the other kind of debris that could be flying around in a normal barnyard.
Right.
Like, that kind of goes back to them being tied down to that pole. They would have been shredded.
Yeah, like you were saying, like the sharp objects and stuff, like obviously in a barn would have that. So, it was...
Well,
that's a big part of it.
It's really funny because I do a presentation at Comic-Cons about the weather and pop culture.
Yes.
And just trying to help people better understand like the literacy of storms and how it can be affected based on what we see in movies. And I always have a slide with the last picture of Twister. And there's 3 words on the slide. Or 4 words. They, period, would, period, be, period, dead, period. And it's one of my favorite slides to tell people because it's so true.
It's so true. I mean, there's a lot of parts where it would happen. And then going off to another tangent, there's the scene where they're at the drive-ins.
Yes. Oh, the classic
And we were Kitty and I were just talking about that. So at that point, it's dark outside. And the tornado comes to the drive-through. Or not drive-through, the drive-in, not the drive-through. I'm hungry.
We're like the more modern era where we don't have drive-ins. And I wish we did.
There's one in my hometown.
No way.
Yes, there is. And I think it's like one of the last ones in Michigan, but that's one of the cooler things. But yes,
Ooh.
they don't have nearly as much anymore.
Yeah.
But in the scene, the tornado does come into the drive-in, but they have miraculously power the entire time, which pow- power would have been eradicated immediately if a tornado,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
to that size. If you've seen the movie, it's huge. It
Right.
would have just demolished any power lines or anything like that.
Well, and being out in the middle of nowhere, they didn't bury those power lines.
Yeah,
So they
no,
would
no.
be torn
It'd
to
be
shreds.
exposed. Yeah,
Unless they
no.
had like an underground generator that they wired up through the ground.
It's a possibility, but most likely no.
Well, and in tying with the power, the power for the system, there's the scene where Joe's kind of tipped off that the tornado's on the way because she looks into the concession stand and sees the TV is like
Yes.
going static. And Melissa sees it too in the hotel room where it goes staticky.
Yeah.
That was a real thing.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that happening. Like when we get a storm and the TV would go static. Like that was like unlocked a core memory for me. Like that was a real, it had to be at least 15, 20 years ago at the very least.
Oh, yeah.
If not more. But I remember like sitting in my basement. We had one of those old box TVs, and that would cut to static. I remember. So I mean, yeah, that's something we don't have to worry about anymore. That's one of the pluses about internet or having our cell phones is that we can constantly stream. If we're doing live coverage or anyone else doing live coverage, you will always have that. Whereas back then,
exactly,
it cuts out, and you rely on radio.
Yeah.
But
even then, anything that requires like over-the-air signal, you can have these disruptions. Hail can cause it, any kind of debris, and so that's what tied into this. I don't know, like that had to have been an intentional research point that they found out. They're like, how can we tip them off? Which, if you are ever working, this is a call out to anyone watching who works on a project that involves any kind of weather, message us. We will gladly let you know if it's fact or fiction, or if there's like any weird little things that like staticky TV that you could add in.
Yeah.
That I want to see more of that meteorological literacy in storms.
Yeah, no, it's all fun to put together and just having like this conversation and stuff. But like, we're talking about all the mistakes of the movie, but really it's such a good movie to watch. So
it's incredible, and it's long lasting. If you've ever been to Waukeeta, Oklahoma, it's an actual town, not just from the movie.
Yeah.
They filmed in Waukeeta, and there's a woman there, at least there was as of 2019. I've seen her through my storm chasing. She owns the museum.
Oh, that's so awesome.
They have like a Twister convention there every year, and they have replicas of the cars, and sometimes they'll get some of the cast members to show up. And it's amazing to see all the memorabilia she has. My favorite thing, I have it in a little jar. She actually was an extra in the film when they were like driving through destroyed Waukeeta.
Oh, awesome.
She thought to pick up the bricks from the set and has been selling bricks, and like now she chips them apart because she's running out and sells actual screen used debris from Twister in the museum.
That's so cool. Oh, I would totally have a piece of that. That's so awesome.
Oh, so amazing. So if you ever are down near Oklahoma City, just drive north by like an hour and a half. And I don't think it's open on the regular. You have to have her phone number, which somehow my professor did.
Wow. Okay.
It is unreal. And she will tell you all the stories about the behind the scenes, like Bill Paxton playing football with the high school team. And just there was a point while they were filming, and I was lucky enough to have seen Helen Hunt at Comic-Cons.
Yeah,
got to
that
meet her.
is so awesome, by the way. I'm so jealous.
If you ever get the chance, if she's back in Michigan, I will take the whole team.
Yes,
because she told these stories about behind the scenes. They had their retinas were burned because of the lights they were using.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
so many behind the scenes stories that OSHA would probably be very interested in.
Yes, right. Yeah,
yeah. They put literal blood, sweat, and tears into this film.
Yeah,
and it shows.
Yeah, I know and like I said, it's just a classic. It's held up over the years. It's so awesome though that you were able to make Helen and stuff. And
oh yeah.
You were talking about those. She had some comments to your parents. Because you like to storm chase. Obviously I do too. But when you got to meet her, you told her you like to storm chase, and then what did she say to you?
She's like, "Please tell your parents I'm so sorry that I influenced you into this." I'm like, "Oh, don't be. My mom's my driver when I go storm chasing," and she's just like, "You're both insane."
That's awesome.
Because I had asked her the first time I got to meet her, I was like, "Would you ever go and storm chase in real life?" And apparently for the film, some of them did.
Oh, really?
Carrie Elways was actually talking about he insisted on going storm chasing.
To kind of get an idea of, what, in the movie. Yeah. So, yeah.
And they got close enough to a tornado, and then their car stopped working. And so then they started to panic, and he's like, "Oh, if I die before we record this film, they're never gonna let me live it down," sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So there's so many good stories if you ever get to meet them at conventions. Just another reason to go to Comic-Con. But yeah, that's and you will find cosplayers from Twister. I have a Dorothy cosplay.
Oh,
like it's a backpack, and then I have my Joe cosplay, and I put it on, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's really cool.
The fandom's alive, the passion's alive for it. If they were to create a third Twister movie, what would you want to see them do?
I don't know. But when we were talking about them combining casts, I think that would be the coolest part. I think for anyone, if you're a fan of the original movie, if you're, or if you're younger, and you've really only seen the second movie come out in theaters and stuff, and just kind of see both of them, collide and do some, a sequel to that would be really, really cool.
It would be incredible, and you know what? As long as they don't do a Sharknado,
yes,
I think we'll be good.
I don't think they'd go too over the top with something like that. Hopefully, I hope not, because then I think that would just ruin it completely.
Oh yeah.
But I think the Twisters, the sequel, did a lot more or better job, looking more into the research, because I think they did go to the National Weather Service and stuff, and they were educated and stuff, like the actors themselves, which was really neat in the sequel.
I have friends who work in that building who I think saw them when they were there, doing their tours. I'm like,
which would be, that's
lucky,
so lucky. So yeah, if they were able to do that, just make it more realistic. But obviously, it's still fun to see the little cinematic parts about it that makes it a little unrealistic, just to dramatize it too.
The tornado hits the oil refinery and turns into a fire tornado. Real thing. But that would be a fun way to do it. And I know a lot of meteorologists who would very happily be background extras.
Yes, I would be. I'm saying this now for the record. I would like to be an extra if there is a third one.
Yes, please. Yeah, we can just be in the background, limping or something, picking up the farm equipment that flew out of the whatever kind of farmer's barn that they were.
Yes, I sold. Any part of it, that would be awesome.
I honestly wish that they would reach out and just get a bunch of meteorologists, because we would be the best background actors they've ever had.
It'd be perfect. So perfect.
Oh, well, we should look for more weather-themed movies to break down.
Yes,
this
was
has
been
a great conversation.
There's so many other ones. There's also Day After Tomorrow too. That's way more over the top.
Oh my gosh.
We could really go into that.
We'd have to turn down the mic level because I would be screaming. That Sharknado. I mean, there's a NYC Tornado Terror, Ice Twisters, Holiday Twister, I think, Atomic Twister. Think every Sci-Fi Channel movie you ever seen. So
it's got it all.
Yeah, we'll have a movie night in the studio and just get Daniel and David to come in and do something like that.
Yep.
But in the meantime, this has been a great conversation. Go watch Twister if you want to, and we'll be back again sometime soon with another episode of Rain Check. Thanks so much for tuning in, and stay cool out there.
Stay cool.